Hi Pearly Girls, my name is Jemima Bagonza and I work at the British School of Kampala as the Deputy Headteacher for Primary and Head of Administration. I have two children, Aiden and Anandi, a boy and a girl. Aiden is my first, he's 5 years old, and Anandi is the little girl, the new entrant, and she's 7 months old. I'd like to say my mommy journey started in 2014. Around September, because this is around the time I found out I was pregnant. A lot changed, yeah? A lot had to change because at that time I had just turned 20. I had just gone off to university. I had gone off to university at Nkozi, which is in Masaka. So I had to relocate. I had come back to Kampala. I had to tell my parents. That's a whole other story. So I had to relocate to Kampala, and of course I had to drop out of school because that was not going to work. So I moved to Kampala. It was a whole thing. I told my parents. Oddly, the parent that I thought that would take it the best actually took it the worst, but eventually came to terms with it. And I told the baby daddy, before my parents of course, but I told him after I had made a decision, after I knew what I wanted to do. Like it wasn't a thing of, oh, I know it affected him as well, but it was my decision to make. Sounds a little selfish, but it's facts. So I had to take some time, think about what I'm going to do. I knew at the back of my head I was going to keep the baby. What I didn't know is, and then what? So it was a lot. So eventually when I wrapped my head around it, I came up with a sketchy plan. I told the baby daddy, thank God he was on board, fully supportive. Man, please. He was so supportive. I can't even express how much. So that was lucky. But remember, he's about my age. We're the same age actually. So he was also just off to uni. He was in Kenya. So it was a little harder for him to not be around and, having to go and come and go and come. But anyway, eventually it worked out. So when I told him, of course, his worry as well was the finances, As much as we've done this and it's happened, we cannot expect to wait and see what's going to happen. Okay, mommy will buy the baby's milk and all. Anyway, yeah, so now, well, he continued studying. I stayed in Kampala. My parents forced me to do an ICT course. I did programming and networking, a certificate, which I'm thankful for them today because when I look back, it kept me busy. As much as I felt like, oh gosh, like can't you just, let me be? No, it kept me busy. It kept my mind off things, I was able to see and look at things differently from a point of view that I had never unlocked, let me say. I started to mature mentally. So I wasn't thinking like short term, I was thinking long term. Okay, this will help me, and eventually it paid off. So I thank them for forcing me to do that. Yeah, I did the short course. Then I had my baby boy in April, which was 2015, April, 25th of April. My labor, that's another story. I would love to get into it, but honestly, my labor experience is not... Okay, let's put it this way. A lot of moms tell me to not talk about my labor experience because apparently the 2 times I have gone into labor, I was just playing games. Because their stories are different. Mine was painless. I did natural delivery for both, and no painkillers, no epidural. I mean, kudos to the moms that do it differently, to each their own, but I was so determined. I was so determined to do it naturally that I set my mind to that tune. Like I kept telling myself, my experience is different, it's not going to be like theirs, and I could go on and on. Anyway, it was just a blessing, really. Easy labor, in and out. I mean, I went into labor, okay, active labor in the AMs, but I went to hospital as soon as I got to hospital, I didn't wait. I went straight to the delivery room, the theater, and had my baby. In about 2 hours I was done, which may sound a lot to the men, but to the women who have had kids, you understand that it was very short. So yeah, that was just a blessing. So after I had my baby, 5 months later, I went to work, still at British School of Kampala, but a different post, you know. So it was difficult because I had to put him in a daycare. Now, it sounds harsh, putting your 5-month-old baby in daycare, but believe me you, at that time, it was a time where maids were, I don't know, it was a trend to beat the boss's baby. So there were all these stories going around of children being beaten by maids doing nasty things. And you know, I don't know if it's just me, but it's weird how when you're in that situation is when you start to see all these bad things. Like now that I have a baby is when everyone decides to send me all these videos of nannies beating their babies. I don't know. So I was so paranoid. I took him to a daycare that I trust, and it was the best decision I could ever make. You know, so many people were like, no, you're heartless, stay home. Listen, at the end of the day, I knew what I had to do to support the child. I had to work. You know, I couldn't just, yes, I had this, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had the support of my whole family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers, his family, his entire family. An army raised Aiden, yeah? But you don't just take that for granted. You have to do something yourself. You can't just sit and wait to be given, you know. I wasn't comfortable with that, so went out, got the job, worked, and best decision I ever made because I got into the job. Okay, before that, before I got the job, I had a little baking company with a friend of mine, Confection Perfection, which worked out great. It was good when it was good, you know what I mean, like cakes orders are coming in, you know, it was good. It helped, it kept me on track, but it wasn't sustainable, being that my friend who was my partner then couldn't, it was just a lot of logistical issues. So eventually, I had to let go of that and focus on work. A short while after I started working, I went back to school, a different school, doing a different course, totally different. I did international business administration and management at Slaska International Business School, and I did that at the time when I was enrolling for the school to start school again. I felt like, you know what, I can do this. You know, people do this all the time, have a child, school, it's easy. I got into it and I don't regret the decision, but it was hard. It took a toll on me. Because keep in mind I'm 20 now. I'm about what, 21, 22. I have a baby, I have a job, I have school, and I still have to balance my social life. So it was heavy, and it's not like the obvious answer was, just, you know, social life, cut it out and what. It was hard because I was young. It was that age, you know, your 20s, you want to have fun. Like, have fun. Your friends are all having fun, you're going out and, you know, harmless. But at the end of the day, I had to make a decision, and I chose to cut out my social life, which to me at the time seemed like the most sensible decision, because eventually I finished, graduated, and sort of balanced out. But now the thing is, my friends who are very supportive of me unfortunately could not understand exactly what I was going through. They could empathize with me, but that was about it. They couldn't really understand what I was dealing with, what I was going through. There was a lot of stuff, questions and things that I had that I couldn't get from them because they were not mothers. They were not mothers yet, and that's not on them. That's not their fault, you know? So they'd call me for a plan here and there. Eventually, the invite stopped coming, and I got used to that. Actually, I got so comfortable with that because it saved me the lying and I can't make it and you know. But now that I had graduated and I had a little free time, you know, it was hard for me to readjust, to recalibrate. I was like a social alien, you know, getting back out there, and everyone who, you know, you used to sort of hang with and the friends that you used to hold close, they're all in a different headspace from you because well, to them it's like you're always going to turn down the plan anyway, so why bother? And for me it was a thing of, you know what, I can't even tell them that I'm sacrificing my social life just so that I can get some sanity. Listen, it was a lot. Yeah, you wake up in the morning like at 5 a.m. I get ready for work. I wake my baby up, get him ready for work. I had to be at work by 7:30 and I finished work at 5. So at 5 I had an hour between home and school, like between getting from work to home to school, because my school then started at 6. So I get to school at about 6 and I'm doing all these things. Then plan, you go out, you get home earliest maybe like 3 a.m. 3 a.m. you calculate you have like 2 hours to sleep. So I'm literally working on 2 hours of sleep, which was just so unhealthy. Honestly, now that I think about it, I had a death wish of some kind anyway. So no, I really had to do away with my social life for a bit, you know, put it on pause. And eventually I got back into the groove. It's not the same. I mean, okay, we're even older now, but at least I can appreciate that I tried. I really did try. And then, yeah, social life. Then 2017, I got a job promotion. I got my first job promotion in 2016, got my second job promotion in 2017, and the promotion I got in 2017 is the position I'm serving now, which is Deputy and Head of Administration, which I love so much. Like, I enjoy doing what I do, and it's so much easy, like it's so easy for me to balance it out with my children, because my work schedule is literally the same as his school schedule. So when I'm at work, he's at school. Then when we get home is when we catch up on everything. Of course, it's not always easy because I'm exhausted, he's exhausted, and it's a lot. Like, there was a point where I felt I was not enough for him. Like, I wasn't giving him all that I could, because I would literally see my child awake because sometimes I'd get back home and he's asleep. I'd literally see my child awake on average in a day, maybe 3 hours, which is not enough. It's not enough. And especially at the point where the child feels like, you know, by that time he was about 1, 2. Of course, you have the terrible twos. He's angering me, I'm irritating him, I'm not giving him the attention he wants. It was so much, and at some point I actually felt like, you know what, I think I am better off letting him live with what he's content with and just quit my job and focus on my studies, because the study was not an option. I had to get my degree. And it really took a toll, because I loved what I was doing. It was supporting us financially, like enough. It was enough for us. But my child, I just felt like my child was not, he wasn't getting what he needed from me as a mother, in my opinion. Like, my mom keeps saying, oh, you're too hard on yourself, but I could feel it. I could feel it, and I honestly felt like she was being nice to say that to me, but I could feel it. She knew more about my child than I knew about him. It's only maybe when the school was on holiday, my work, where I would get, of course, automatic leave, where we would really bond, and, you know, and it was so much fun, you know, but then a few weeks later, you're going back to work, he's going back to school. So it's like we're undoing what we have done. The routine is going to change. And as a child, they feel it. So it was just a decision that I said, you know what? At the end of the day, this child will appreciate my efforts. I am doing all that I can as a mother. I have sacrificed my social life. Well, not sacrificed, because it's something that I had to do anyway, but I felt I was doing all that I could as a mother. And at the end of the day, you know what's funny is I think kids gauge our emotions, because he adjusted. Like, he became more receptive to my timetable. He was more in tune. Like, he knew what time I would get home, so he'd either wait up or, you know, nap before and then wake up when I get home. So we still had that bond time before bed and all. Like, I'd give him his dinner, bathe him, and do all that with him. So we got to bond around that. But honestly, you know what, for a child, love is time. You know, that's a child's love language. They don't understand gifts, they don't understand money, they don't understand. A toddler's love language is literally time. If you do not give your child your time and you're sharing them with all these things, trust me, it's not the same. As they won't feel as valued, can I say? We like to say kids won't understand, they won't remember, but it's a vibe, you know. They get to know, they feel it. So for a child, give them as much time as possible, and that's how I made it work. When I was with him, I was with him fully and devoted. Like, no gadgets, nothing. Okay, to record a few videos and take a few pictures of him because he's cute, but no, I really gave him my time when I was with him. It was about him. We would have our dates. I would take him, like, to, he likes driving, he likes cars, so we'll drive around. I'll take him for ice cream, or we'll just go to that, there's that play area at Acacia Mall, and play with him. And for him, that was enough because I had given him my time. So even when I felt inadequate, I knew that I just had to give my child my time, and that would be enough for him. They're actually not that complicated. Yeah, here and there I started a few businesses with my friends, and you know, eventually 2019 I found out I was expecting my second baby. That's an Andy, and with her, as much as it was a surprise still, okay, I won't say surprise because really, one surprise, two surprise, okay. With her it was more of a, she was an unexpected baby. Unexpected in the sense that I wasn't actually trying to have her, but I wasn't disappointed when I had her. Do you understand? Like, I had reached a point where I had been through it. I was independent, more or less, so I could actually have another baby, you know? And so I did, and this is when I really felt the pinch of adulthood, because now I moved out of home around the same time, living in a totally different area on my own. It was just, yeah, an experience. My main worry was running a household. I mean, I've always looked at my mom doing it and I thought, when the time comes, I'll do it. The time came and I could not do it. So what happened? Well, let me give you a scenario. There was a night in this room, I was here, and a frog came through that balcony door from the bottom. So you know, you're sitting there, you're with your child, I've put Aiden to sleep. I was just with Anandi, and I start to hear something like, you know, like, ah. So I get up to check, and it's a frog. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm afraid of literally anything that is not human. Yeah, like insects, those little things, anything else, but no. So I grab the baby, run to the sitting room, and I know Aiden is safe because he's in his room. Yeah, so I get to the bed, I get to the sitting room, and my first thing, call my mom. I call my mom and I'm crying, like, I hear the frog. I was really crying, I was in a big mess. So my mom just tells me, you know what, call the guy at the gate to help you. So I call the guy at the gate and he helps me, and it was really that simple. But in my mind it was such a big deal because I'm scared, you know. Sometimes our fears cloud our judgment, which is why many of us feel like, oh, parenting and this. No, it's just the fear, it's the thought. We think about it too much and end up scaring ourselves out of doing it. You understand? Like, you put that fear into yourself, like school, work, child, I'm scared. You think about it too much and you end up not doing any of it, you know. If I had let that fear overcome my best judgment, like, I don't think I would be where I am today. I'm so grateful for all. I can never downplay how important it is to have a support system that actually understands you. Leave these things of, you know, a proper support system, you know, someone that you can go to unconditionally, not feel judged, not, it is so important, and it is such a blessing. And for all the single moms out there, I'm not a single mom, thank heavens. I have a very supportive baby daddy, but I respect you on a whole other level, you know, because you've not only decided to raise this child, but you've decided to do it on your own, you know, even if it wasn't a choice, whether it was, you know, but you are really strong. You're a strong woman, and nothing can ever, you know, once you're doing this, there is nothing that can stop you. There is nothing that can get in your way. You understand? You took the step, you took the decision, and you're doing it. You're in it. Yeah, so yeah. So in a way, I just like to look at my children as empty canvases that God has placed into my hands, and I am the artist, and my job is to sculpt, mold, and create this beautiful work of art, which there is no manual, there is no guide, there is no instruction book, there is no encyclopedia, nothing. There is nothing in this world that can give you the right directions as to how to raise your child. It is only you as a mother that can know what is best for your child. You can have a lot of outside input, but at the end of the day, you take the decision. So as much as I was young or whatever, I took that step. I took that step and I took the decision, and I just felt like nothing could get in my way at that point. So it all fell into place, and even now I'm still learning. There's a lot that I still don't know. I feel like even with Anandi, there's a lot I've forgotten from Aiden, but it works out. So I hope I was helpful and informative, and I hope you continue on your mommy journey the way you want it to be done. Yeah, have a good day.